Hi folks, my name's Dave and welcome to Humble Adventures, where in today's video we visit Tropical World in Leeds. About a 15 to 20 minute bus ride from the city centre, Tropical World is situated within the grounds of the famous Roundy Park. You wouldn't believe that such a stunning place would exist so close to the city centre, but immediately on entering Tropical World the beauty is clear and abundant. As well as your beautiful surroundings and the substantial animal life, you'll likely notice the high temperatures and humidity essential for the animal's comfort and for adding a true feel of being in a tropical location. The sounds of running water and birdsong really add to the atmosphere, especially on the quieter day. We visited here about a week after the school holidays in the mid-afternoon and had pretty much the whole place to ourselves, which was fantastic. As we slowly progressed along the paths, we experienced butterflies dancing freely amongst the trees and plants, seemingly without a care in the world. As we passed over ponds spanning both sides of the bridge, filled with all sorts of marine life and surrounded by lush, vibrant plants consisting of every shade of green you can imagine, it was so easy to forget where we were. We could have been anywhere. As we passed through from the butterfly house to the aquarium centre, we experienced another beautiful but vastly different setting. With feelings of having stumbled across the lost settlements of Mesopotamia, we are surrounded by all sorts of different fish. Again, the temperatures in here were very high and the camera lens actually started steaming up, which I think added to a sense of mystery and adventure. The theming throughout the aquarium is also fantastic and consistent. The tanks are all spotlessly clean and the area itself seems plenty spacious, and I assume it would still do so in busier times. What I really enjoy about Tropical World up to this point is the straight to the point, no babble information packs. Of course they're easy for the children to understand and enjoy reading, but it's clear that they've been designed with an accurate assumption in mind that not many people want to spend the whole time reading. They want to look at the fish, animals, plants and other surroundings. The Waterfall house takes us away from the aquarium and back to the rainforest, this time to the rainforest floor where again we're greeted by towering trees, high temperatures and a few other members of the welcoming committee such as the tortoise and the bleeding heart pigeon. The Waterfall house is also where you'll find one of the most famous sights in the whole of Leeds, even outside of Tropical World itself, and that's the main waterfall. Most Leeds residents would be able to identify this scene, and it's likely to be one of your main memories too should you decide to visit here. The waterfall supplies a pond stocked with various types of fish and plant life. As well as fantastic scenes up beneath the water from the side, there's also the ability to view the pond and its surroundings from the other side, under the waterfall itself, whilst remaining perfectly dry. Again, the sound of the waterfall coupled with the high temperatures, the towering plant life and the birds flying around adds perfectly to the experience. I could have happily stayed here for hours just watching the pond and listening to the water. through to Creature Corner now, where we find ourselves having returned to the lost ruins of Mesopotamia. This area is actually the upper floor of where we were earlier in the aquarium area. It's clearly been well understood that the sound of running water offers a comforting and welcoming aspect to the area, and the curators have done a fantastic job of continuing this theme, incorporating it throughout the whole attraction. Although this section of Tropical World might not be everybody's cup of tea, I was surprised to find that for me personally, the most interesting aspect of the area wasn't the snakes or lizards or any of the other dangerous or exotic creatures. It was in fact what you might refer to as the natural aquaponics system. It's a fish tank where the waste from the fish assists in the growth of the plant. Ants then collect the leaves from that plant and begin the journey. Having ripped the leaves to a manageable size, they start making their way up along the rest of the plant, up steep branches whilst passing other ants which are on the way to collect more leaves, and eventually they end up at the hole in the wall. As you can see, it gets a bit crowded and tricky here as the ants clamber on and off the branch. If an ant gets too close to the moist wall, the moisture acts as a glue and sticks the leaf to the wall, and unfortunately the ant isn't strong enough to prise it off again. For the successful ants though, the journey continues through the gaps between the walls, through pre-dug tunnels to the ant's nest. Time to leave for the Rainforest Canopy now. Although the temperature and humidity are still high, we feel much more comfortable as we've got used to it now, and I'm sure that's as a result of some very careful and in-depth planning for which the curators and designers have done a fantastic job of. We again find ourselves amongst running water, beautiful plant life and roaming animals. Whilst there are many birds to be heard, it was quite difficult to point them out in this section at first. They all seemed to be hiding away. We did eventually manage to find 2 or 3 enjoying a snack within the plants, but the rest of the time we just enjoyed listening to the relaxing bird songs in running water and made the most of having this beautiful place to ourselves. Eventually we did locate the birds. It turns out they were all enjoying the views over the enclosure from the various structural supports towards the end of this section's path. I was waiting there a good while in order to capture a few shots of the birds flying for you, but of course none of them did until the very moment I stopped recording. At that time 2 or 3 of them flew directly towards me and above my head, which must have missed me by less than a foot. I think they must have known exactly what they were doing. They must have planned it the second they saw me. Time to move on now to one of the favourites for many people, the desert, which is of course the home of the meerkats. This section is basically one large enclosure for the meerkats with a path surrounding it and various cacti and succulents around the outside edges between the paths and the walls. Whilst the meerkats are cute and fun to watch, I was actually very impressed with the plant life here, but I am a fan of cacti and succulents anyway, so whilst it may not be of interest to everybody, I was certainly happy to see them. As you'd expect, the meerkats were their usual entertaining selves, digging, playing, foraging and exploring in their enclosure. Into another one of my favourite parts of the entire attraction now, to visit the bats and other nocturnal creatures. This little guy came over and started posing for the camera. Just one photo though, things to do, places to be and all that. Of course it's always difficult to film in the dark and I wasn't willing to introduce light and scaring the bats just for this video, so I haven't managed to get much footage here, but trust me when I say you could easily spend a good 15 to 20 minutes in this section, especially on a quiet day when you have the area to yourself like we did. As we exit the area, we arrive back in the rainforest, where we have a better view of some of the birds we were admiring before entering the desert area. Be careful as you explore this area because it's quite easy to bypass some interesting sites with the assumption that there's simply more plant and pond life. We were looking for a few moments with the same assumption until out of the corner of our eye we noticed its tenant hiding down there in plain sight. A few more beautiful water features lead towards the end of the journey around Tropical World and into a large and well-stocked gift shop before leaving the building to explore the gardens. The gardens aren't huge, but they're certainly beautiful, especially the fountains, which we'll take a look at in a few moments. As you can see, the main garden is much like any other tourist attraction garden. However, to the side there's a second, smaller garden with a nice little Chinese feature in the corner. To the other side of the bottom wall, you have a long garden stretching the width of the property opposite one of the most beautiful sights in the whole of Leeds, the long pond with two fountains and central feature. What a fantastic way to both start and end a visit to one of Leeds' most popular tourist attractions. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please remember to click the thumbs up button. Don't forget you can also follow me on both Instagram and Twitter if you wish to do so. My Instagram is _humble_adventures and my Twitter is humble adventures. That's humble without the E, adventures, and that's all one word. Also, if you're interested in receiving notifications of future uploads to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and adjust the bell notification settings accordingly. Thanks again for watching, folks. Please feel free to leave a comment or any suggestions or critique to this video, and I'll happily receive and reply to them. In the meantime, I'll leave you with a few of my other videos which you might be interested in. Thanks again for watching, folks. See you soon.